But obviously the movie hinges on the romantic relationship between Allie and Jay.
Yes.
Like, everything will fall apart. How do you approach establishing a relationship to the great cute where they meet, marketing meeting from hell, and their first dinner date?
I mean, it all starts with our actors. So it all starts with Olivia Holt. It all starts with Mason Gooding. Like that is the material that we're working with, and it was really important for all the filmmaking team on this film to treat this romance sincerely. We're not. The film contains some elements of parody, sure, but like we're trying to make a romantic comedy in earnest. I mean, the gold star, the North Star we had was Rob Reiner films. It was When Harry Met Sally. It was Nora Ephron films. We're trying to make the audience really feel for these characters. And so it starts with your two leads, making sure that when you're evaluating the footage that is coming in, you are looking at this material and really trying to find the best stuff in terms of chemistry, trying to find moments of sincerity, moments where you're legitimately connecting with the actors on screen. And sometimes, that means sacrificing other things, sacrificing maybe a joke. Maybe that means sacrificing something that might be a bit more broad for something that's a bit more introspective. But you want people to be connecting with your main characters. And so there's a certain level of how broad do we make them, how silly do we make them, that was important. Certainly, that meet cute in the coffee shop, they're bonking heads and there's coffee orders. You want some level of silliness to it. You're supposed to fall in love with these people instantly. And that's a high task to get an audience to connect to people right off the bat. But again, it all comes down to when I'm looking at the footage and making these initial cuts, what am I connecting to? And it's a tough thing because it's subjective. And so when you put something together, you put it in front of the screen, and you're hoping people are also connecting the same way that you are. And like I said, that can be a long investigation process of swapping takes, moving things around, some swapping out the needle drop, for instance. The music that's playing in the backdrop of that coffee shop when they meet was one of my wife's and I favorite songs. It has this romantic quality to it that, you throw into this scene, it has this quality of lifting the tone of the scene and making everything sweet and a little kitschy, but charming. And that's a quality that we work really hard to manufacture.
And especially in slasher movies, we don't often get a well-developed relationship.
No, not off the bat. That's also not a lot of these films' prerogatives as well. We would really ascertain, if this movie is working, if you are rooting for this couple to get together by the end. Like that was, yes, as a horror film, we want it to be scary. We want you to jump out of your seats. We want the Hearteyes killer to be menacing. We want that score to be threatening and foreboding. And we want you to laugh at the jokes, certainly. But it's really important that you are the spine of this movie. The reason that this movie works is because of our two leads and their chemistry and making you fall in love with them and wanting them to get together by the end. And so you're having all the other obstacles of a traditional slasher film and a chase film, but you're also making it a courtship film as well. And so how do you find the balancing act of all of that is a thing that we're constantly evaluating.
How fun was doing the sequence with the marketing campaign Till Death?
Oh God, yeah.
That was one of my favorite montages of subverting the rom-com, definitely. Yeah. But was that kind of fun just going on?
That was a blast. That was directed by our second unit director, Lauren Sick, and she had such a fun time with it. And we had such a fun time making that in the editing room as well. We were throwing big needle drops at that piece of that piece eventually, big Shania Twain type stuff before we settled on where we did. But there was. That was, I think, one of the more fun things on the film to assemble in the first place. And I have to give a shout out to my assistant editors, Lana and Ruben, and Derek, who did a large amount of heavy lifting on that scene to get it across the finish line. But it's one of my favorite moments in the entire film.